Next up, we are really happy and excited to offer breakout sessions after the symposium today. And so you're all invited to join and be a part of different breakout sessions. And if you have any questions, pop them over into the chat box and let us know. And we'll give you the more details there. You should have received some emails about this, but again, it's another effort that we're really trying to make to bring people together and share perspectives. We feel very, very emphatically that about the more we can share perspectives, the more people can understand what's going on across the ecosystem, the more likely we're to develop patient-centric systems, and the more likely we're able to create alliances, because anyone who's seen digital health adoption take place realizes that it's never done alone. It's done as a community, and it's done with aligned incentives. So, again, to talk about aligned incentives, next up is someone who understands that as well as anyone in the healthcare system, is one of our favorites, Nathan from Plug and Play, who's been around the healthcare system for a long time. And anyone who knows about Plug and Play knows the good work that they're doing to bring this technology adoption model really back into the early part of the value chain with startups, and really helping enable startups to accelerate their growth and their adoption in the ecosystem. So on that note, Nathan, handing the virtual digital health and human rights podium over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stan. I really appreciate the kind words. You know, that is a really important thing. We do really see ourselves as a connector in this sort of connective tissue in this healthcare ecosystem. But hello, everyone. My name is Nathan Sundheimer, and I head U.S. healthcare partnerships at Plug and Play. As a quick background, Plug and Play is the world's largest open innovation platform, where we connect the world's best startups with national and global corporations to bring new solutions and technology to market faster. In a nutshell, we provide corporate innovation services, run accelerators, and we are also early stage investors. But today, I'm so glad to be here along with David Stoikovitch, founder and CEO of Muna, and Tammy Williams, founder and CEO of EnvisionWell, to touch on the topic of technologies addressing sleep and wellness as a human right. So we have a lot to cover in these short 10 to 15 minutes, but I encourage all of you in the audience to submit your questions down in the chat box below, and I will do my very, very best to make sure that they are addressed if we have some time. But you know, to get us kicked off, I'm going to have David and Tammy introduce themselves. So Tammy, I'm going to hand it over to you. Can you kick us off?
I sure can. Happy to be here. I am Tammy Williams. I'm founder and CEO of Envision to Be Well, Inc., but we go by EnvisionWell. First, we are a company that aggregates health data and brings it to life for people to have what we call KISSA, knowledge, support, access, and autonomy, to live a healthier, sustainably healthy and happy life. We are a mission-driven company, and we're a certified B Corp.
Awesome, thank you. And David, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Yep, thanks, Nathan. Thanks, Tammy. Hi, everyone. I'm David Stoikovitch. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Muna. We're a sleep technology company based in France, and we really, our mission is to improve the sleep of millions of people with breakthrough technology and AI. And we have a first product out in the market, which is a device that goes next to your bed and that regulates the temperature in a smart way under the head and neck in order to sleep better. We already have great results of sleep improvements, which we've published this year at the World Sleep Congress. And we're also working on research partnerships and other partnerships in the healthcare community to grow this further and improve sleep for the greatest number of people.
Awesome, and thanks, David. You know, sticking with you, David, congratulations on all the progress that you're making with Muna and all the partnerships that you've received and things along those lines. But can you tell us a little bit more about Muna and just touch on the direction and endeavors that you are tackling, as a company and as a solution in the, sleep and wellness space in the near future?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the major things with sleep is that, in regards with technology, is that technology so far has kind of let us down with regards to sleep. In the past few decades, we've lost on average 1 hour of sleep per night, and it's getting worse as technology progresses and takes a bigger chunk of our daily lives. And we see a huge opportunity for technology to help improve that situation. And so so far, what we've seen in the market is a lot of trackers that allow great insights on sleep, but we really wanted to go one step further and provide solutions that actively improve sleep. And so I think that's one of the major goals that we have. And in particular, what we see with this angle, which is temperature, is that populations who have issues linked to temperature, so night sweats, hot flashes, are usually underserved. And it's only going to get worse with climate change. And so that's why also it's all the more important at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you. That was extremely insightful. I want to also transition this over to Tammy. So, Tammy, with your experiences around wellness and with Envision Well, like especially within the domain of your company, how are you implementing sleep and wellness plans to those that actually need it? Beyond that, like obviously there are barriers, challenges, and attitudes that are a part of this process, but what are you seeing? And I'm sure there's some very unique nuances in underserved areas as well.
It really is. And those underserved areas, meaning urban areas, rural areas, areas where people really don't get the access. And that's including, by the way, the working poor, as we call it. Thank you for the video. I think that there's something that's been going on with my, there we go. Okay, thank you. But there's a couple of statistics that I'd like to share with you when it comes to minorities and the inequity when it comes to sleep. We know that there's a lot of inequities in this world, but in terms of African Americans or Black people, they were all actually 57% more likely than white Americans to have less sleep. The sleep quality comes from a lot of different places. And Hispanics were 47% more likely to have sleep apnea, 80% more likely to have 6 hours or less of sleep. And David, I know that you actually, really have done a lot of research into this as to why this has happened. And I apologize for the video, but the video just seems to be going in and out. There we go. The secondary one kicked in. But, when it comes to those underserved communities and what actually impacts them, this is where we really come into play. Because of KISA, that having the knowledge, having the support, having the access and the autonomy to do something about it, to make a difference. And in understanding that these factors, there are certain factors and elements that play into being unhealthy when you have less sleep, such as diabetes, heart disease. There's a number of things that you can actually have control over by making just a few slight changes so that you can get a better quality of sleep.
Nathan, I think you're muted.
I know it's the classic Zoom. You think, we've been on this thing for 2 years. You think it'd be second nature now, but always make that same mistake. But David, I'd love just to kind of throw that same question to your court, because Tammy kind of lined that up nicely for what you're doing with Muna, and I'd love just to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, so Tammy mentioned that that sleep is essential for wellness and health in general. And so for sure, bad sleep can lead to a lot of different issues downstream. And so it's really essential for life. And it's actually while I was looking up some facts, especially in the US, there's been some court rulings about considering sleep as a basic human right. Especially for people who are, for example, homeless people who, in a certain given city, there might not be enough space in a shelter, and because of that, it was ruled unfair for local authorities to pursue them because it's a basic human right to be able to sleep, even though it's in a tent outside, and so it can become very, very very important to deal with these issues at a basic human rights level. And talking about underserved communities and underserved populations, our focus mainly in our current customer base and user base are women around the menopause. And we know that they're affected by a lot of sleep issues. More than 80% of them suffer from hot flashes, which can affect their night's sleep. And at the moment, unfortunately, in the diagnostic and treatment pathway, there's not a lot of solutions that are satisfactory for a lot of them. And so, for example, we see hormone replacement therapy being rejected by half of women in menopause. And so it's really important to be able to have alternative solutions that actually work and that provide solutions to their issues. And so I think that's also one important focus point that I wanted to bring forward. And I said that bad sleep affects all sides of health, but at the same time, good sleep can be a catalyzer for good health. And so I really believe that in the next few years, with more digital health focus on sleep, we'll see the downstream effects on all walks of life. So the next day, with focus, with avoiding any danger of accidents. We know that there's a higher death toll on the road due to bad sleep. Medium term with mental health. I think Tammy also mentioned that, and more long term on the advent of chronic conditions. So in order to avoid that, I think a focus on sleep is really, really important.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you actually kind of stole my next question out of my mouth, because I wanted to touch on women's health. As we all know, HITLAB is such a strong supporter and proponent of all things women's health. And, we all try to attend those talks every Wednesday with Nina, and those are all fantastic. But there was also another question from the audience. Tammy, I will come back for the women's health for you, because I definitely want to learn a little bit more about what you're doing with Envision Well there. But David, there was a question from the audience, and they wanted to ask, do you see the potential for Muna to either apply its sleeping technology or develop solutions for those that have narcolepsy? I'd love just to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting question. At the moment, what we decided is that to focus on the angle of temperature, and so temperature related issues, and sleep issues and sleep disorders can be linked to a lot of different factors, and we saw within our user base people affected by neurological diseases and chronic conditions who suffer as an effect from bad sleep. We don't have at the moment narcolepsy patients using our device, but in the future, where we see ourselves going is really covering the whole sleep health spectrum. So from all the different sleep disorders and conditions to just in general better sleep for better wellness. That's the goal, to cover everything, and that's why we started working with researchers on partnerships. So I can give one example with the University of Chicago. We're working with a professor there, Dr. Saldana Panane, and we're working on a research project on people with obesity, and so trying to show that there are other health outcomes that come from better sleep. So in this case, weight management and chronic condition management can all be improved with better sleep. So yeah, I hope that partially answers the question.
Yeah, I think it does, and thank you. And so getting back to that original question, Tammy, I just want to bring this back over to you. So, we were talking about implementation. We were talking about, your solutions, especially in the women's health space. I'd just love to understand a little bit more about what Envision Well's activity is in this domain.
So one of the ways that we really connect with people in general, but, of course, women, one of our solutions or one of our modules in our what we call the super app of Envision Well is that with a 30-second phone scan, and someone had mentioned that 80% of the globe has a cell phone. You take a scan of your face. In 30 seconds, you get contactless vitals. And these vitals, such as your cardiac risk, your stress level, your blood pressure levels, all of these things take into account, and somehow they tie back to how much sleep did I get? How relaxed am I? How much stress do I have in my life? And being able to have access to that at your fingertips with your phone means a lot. There's such a thing as sleep debt. We talk about debt in terms of money or monetary, but there's sleep debt that we have to take into account as well. And it's the difference between the amount of sleep you need and the amount of sleep that you actually get. And there's different levels of the hours of sleep that we need by age group, starting from when you're born all the way up to, senior citizens or octogenarians. And so being able to come in with Envision Well to provide this information that is about you. It's your body, your health, your data. This is your life. And you need to be in tune with that at all times.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Tammy. I know we're just at time, so I want to say, Tammy and David, thank you so much for joining us today. Great conversation. Wish we had more time. That as that is always the case, but just wanted to say thank you. And Stan, I see that you're here, so I'm going to hand the reins back over to you.
Thanks, Nathan.
No, thanks.
Thanks, Tammy.
Wonderful presentation, wonderful moderation. Thank you, Nathan, for that terrific session.